Yeah, so this is the way we are today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also nonsense.
Yeah. So I'm Mommy J.
Big J.
Huh?
Little J.
Did you remember the story of the three goats?
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of the three bears.
Three goats, bruh.
All right. So once again, we thank you for joining us tonight, and we are the three goats, three beers, three J's, and this is RWJ Cow Chats. This evening, we are coming from our studio. RWJ studio. Yeah. Okay. Come on, fancy. Right. We are continuing and concluding the topic we started last week. Girls, can you remind everybody what we have been doing?
Virtue.
So we've been doing virtue.
Moral of relationship.
So we are in the moral of relationships. We've been doing this for the past 3 weeks. And so this week we'll finally finish the moral of relationship. And today we are doing compassion. We started last week and we stopped abruptly because we've spent so much time. And the moral of relationship is love. And it's a very hard one. So we've done these topics: generosity, mercy, forgiveness, and we're on compassion.
Altruism.
Altruism? And really? How did I miss that? Thank you, Lita J. Well done.
You have paint on your cheek.
I have paint on my cheeks, right? That makes me very generous.
What?
Right, like we said, we are going back and we are doing compassion today. So, girls, let's just run down. What is compassion? We said it last week. Let's just quickly summarize.
That compassion is to empathize someone who is suffering and to feel compelled to reduce suffering. That we should be feeling good.
Hey, are you doing? Wait. You know what she's doing, Mr. Right. So can you slow down, Mr.
Peter.
Mr. Pepe. I did it! Yay! Okay.
He said Mr. Pepper instead of Peter Viper.
No. Okay. At the end, I'm going to do it again, and I'll still get it. Right. So compassion. Oh, now we are back to the topic. Compassion is talking about sympathizing with someone that is suffering, and not only that, making them not feel alone. And we said the basis of compassion is from a biblical understanding, from those of us that are religious, and you have a deep compassion for somebody by experiencing their ups and downs in their lives. You associate with them, you are empathetic, you are sympathetic, and you have a desire to alleviate somebody's suffering. That is a desire to make sure that what the person is going through, the person is not going through anymore. So we did all that last week, so we'll not spend so much time on it. So we give a scenario. Yeah, you remember this. So what will you do if a new girl comes to your school? Let's just run around. Big J, what will you do?
Talk to her, see like her interests and likes and that kind of thing.
What if she doesn't like leave you alone?
Then you say, but remember, I will always be there if you ever need someone to talk to.
Good. So you can volunteer to be the person's body of friend, and you can also volunteer a few number of your friends to have, so that the person doesn't feel alone. You can share your lunch. You can write a post-it.
I'm not allowed to share lunch in my school.
Okay. All right.
Maybe that's just yours.
That's just your school. You can share your lunch in your school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can share from your plate,
right?
You can share from your
But
plate.
you might get in trouble. But you have to do it very quietly.
Yes, you can share your lunch. You can share your sweets. You can share your snack. So you can take a chocolate to school for someone like you did recently. So that is compassionate. And then we were trying to explain to a 6-year-old, and we said a 6-year-old, what it means to them is giving a hug, writing a card.
A hug.
Really?
Yeah.
You're being compassionate right now.
Indeed.
So you help a family member that is upset or sad. So I'm really upset and I need compassion. All right, so
She distracted.
let's go on today. So we
Why
talked
not?
about the paradigm of uncompassionate. We said uncompassionate are people that are indifferent and uncaring about others. They are not emotional at all. Can you remind me, BJ, how did we talk about this table? Can you explain?
So,
Big
can
J.
I explain?
Okay, Lisa J. Yeah.
So, there's like an arrow
Mm-hmm.
leading north, south,
Mm-hmm.
west, and east,
Mhm.
and then there's a word at the end of each arrow.
Mm-hmm.
The forwards say compassion, ignorance, wisdom, and indifference.
Mm-hmm.
So each of the boxes say two words,
Mm-hmm.
and each of the boxes contain two of the arrows.
Okay, good. You just described it. BJ, what does it mean? Describe
So
it.
when you have compassion and you have ignorance,
Mm-hmm.
you have caring avoidance, which is letting empathy be barred actions and be like, it's okay.
It's okay, but you
We
won't do
won't actually
anything.
help anyone.
Yeah, you won't do anything
Say
about
it's
it.
okay and walk
Yeah,
away.
I'll walk away. Good.
And then compassion and wisdom is wise compassion. So that means you're actually compassionate. It's like, it's okay. I know what you're going through. I can help you go
And
through
you
this.
go through the experience with them.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the third
Then
one?
ineffective indifference is just leaving them completely, not
Just
saying
ignore
anything.
them. You
And then
don't even
uncaring
care.
execution is just like, come to my house tonight, whatever you have on, you have to come because I want to help you.
So
It's
that
like
one
you
is
don't
one
actually
showing
care.
off. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just want to show up because you want to act as if you care. So I want us to watch out. Where does the meter of our compassion, where does it land at this box? Last week I told the girls that your compassion should sit in number 2, wise compassion. You are compassionate, you are caring, and you are
I think I
actually
would
practicing it.
I think I would be something like in between 1 and 4.
You?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, wherever you
You're
are.
number 2, obviously. You're number 2.
I'm number 2. Oh, bless me. I'm
You're either
compassionate.
number 2 or number 4. Like some days where you're not very happy. Like
Oh, I'm number 4. Oh my
not
God.
always. You're like rarely a number 4.
I'm barely number
Like
4,
I feel
so I'm
like
number
everyone
2.
can be a number 4 at some point.
I think most people are number 3 or number 2. Yep.
No, not usually number 2.
Number 2.
I feel like it's number 1.
No,
Happy-
let me correct myself. Most people would be in number 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, I don't really think there are that many who are
In
number
number
3
3, yeah. That would be it because I
And
think
then you just see somebody sitting in the playground or nobody.
move to
and
the
somebody
move to
that
the
doesn't
inside.
have
Move
a
inside.
lunch.
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't have a lunch. Okay, we're going to another person.
Yeah. All right. So we said, why is compassionate important? Big J, can you remind us what we said last week?
It's important because it creates connections and it helps your problem solving skills and it improves your health and well-being.
So at its core, compassionate puts aside judgment. It refuses to turn away from challenging situation. So in the core of the whole, in the metamorphosical what did I just say? In the center of compassion, it does not judge and it does not turn away from those that have needs. So last week we discussed empathy and compassion. Can you remind us what we said about empathy and compassion?
Like
Empathy understands what you're going through. Compassion says, I understand and I'll go through it with you.
Yeah, and
I'll help you. So we said all that last
so
week.
it's better to be compassionate but empathetic.
Both of them go
Yeah,
hand in
good.
hand. Yeah, they go hand in hand. But you can be
Yes, the
empathetic.
extra mile.
Yeah, you can be.
Yeah.
TJ, we are busy. We are very busy here. So you can have empathy, but not necessarily compassion, because you can have empathy but not act it out. Okay, so now we talked about research. Can you have too much compassion? This was where we are starting because all we've been discussing had been a summary of last week. So, girls, can you have too much compassion
No.
without reading it?
Mm,
Without reading, can you have too
no.
much compassion?
no.
I think you can.
Oh.
Because see,
Oh wait, no, I know
researchers.
what you can have. Like, I have an example. Am I allowed to say any names or anything?
No, don't mention. Just say A.
Okay. So A was in a race,
Mm-hmm.
And
Don't worry, we can mention them.
okay.
Little J was in a race today. We went, okay, congratulations to Little J. She won, or she was the first in a group running today. Give me 5. Little J, you're such a sweet runner. Anyway, okay, so let me explain what I was saying. You didn't run, so you can't take the high 5. So she was in a long race today, and there was a I don't know whether she's a little girl, but
she's 8.
She's 8, but she just has a small size. She has a small size. So Little J was supporting the girl and running with the girl slowly.
That girl, she's like 4 or 6.
She's like 4 or 6. So she was running with the girl. Rather than running a race, Little J started running. Little J started running with the girl very slowly, and we were all laughing. But you know the funniest thing, when it was almost the end of the race, the girl just took off and started running. To the amazement of Little J, she realized that, see the person I've been trying to have compassion and empathize with. Little J just started running, and she went ahead of the girl. So can you see compassion? You can be into trouble. So let's read what the researchers say.
Misplaced empathy can be bad for you and others, leading to exhaustion and apathy, which is like, I don't care.
I don't care, huh?
And preventing you from helping the very people you need to. Worse, people's empathetic tendencies can even be harnessed and manipulate them into aggression and cruelty.
So let's say we don't know who the girl is, but let's assume that she took Jedida's empathy and she used it to manipulate her aggressive running towards the end. Yeah, you see that I just used the word. So there are 2 ways that empathy can be bad. If it's misplaced, if you are having compassion on others in the wrong way, it can lead to exhaustion. You can lead to I don't care attitude, and it can also lead to preventing others from helping because you close the door towards the helping others. And in the worst part, the other people that you are being compassionate on can also use it as a way to exert energy from you and be cruel towards you.
I remember a movie you were watching, and then this girl tried to give the boy an egg.
And she tried to, that's it. So the boy was being compassionate, or the girl was being compassionate, and the boy threw away the eggs and shouted on her. So sometimes you can have very negative reaction because you're a very compassionate person. So a compassionate person must have a very strong heart and a heart to say, no matter the reply or the feedback I get, I'm not going to stop being compassionate. So we can't heal the world today, but we can begin with a voice of compassion, a heart of love, and an act of kindness. So compassion is always about a heart of love and an act of compassion, and that is the voice we bring out. A heart of love and act of kindness becomes the voice of compassion. I almost got that wrong. Okay, so what are the characteristics of being compassionate? Little J, tell me the first one.
Qualities of compassion are patience and wisdom, kindness and perseverance. What a resolve!
So, do you see the word resolve? The word resolve is from the last slide. Because if you are not resolved, when people react to you cruelly and aggressively, you would stop being compassionate. So, a compassionate person must also be a compassionate person must also be a very patient person, must have wisdom, must be kind, must persevere and be warm.
Wait, so if you didn't have that, if somebody was aggressive to you, you would just get apathy and you wouldn't care about it.
Exactly. That is exactly what happens. If you don't have these characteristics worked out together, you walk away from situations. Big J, can you read the next one?
It is often, though not inevitably, the key component in what manifests in the social context as altruism.
Exactly. So compassion is a manifestation of altruism.
It's part of it.
A part of it. So if you've not watched our video on altruism, check our Facebook or our YouTube channel, and you can see the relationship between compassion and altruism. They are all an act of love from the heart of love. Expression of compassion is prone to be hierarchical.
Isn't that like in the kind
of
pyramid?
Yeah. So if you are compassionate, then if you are kind to someone, remember the act of kindness, random kindness. So if you act to someone, then the person will be kind to 2 people, the person will be kind to 4 people. So it always goes down.
Oh wait, when you have an act of kindness to 2 people, then those 2 people can go to 2 people.
2 people. So it comes down like that. And it's also, what's that? Paternalistic. Parents, because your parents have compassion and take care of their children and all that. And controlling in response. Okay, so can you read the Black Coast quote?
Society would be a lighter and easier place to live if everyone was compassionate and happy and didn't wear deceiving eyes as some people do.
Oh, that's going to be my post on Monday on my Facebook page. Please, big little J, small J, can we concentrate? Society will be a lighter and easier place to live if everyone is compassionate and happy. The reason why the society is hard to live is sometimes we are so deceiving in the way we act, and we act as if we are compassionate, but indeed we are not. So by the time people realize that it is just a facade, they are discouraged, and everybody's heart is heavy. So let's not take compassion for granted. People that are compassionate, they can get hurt if they realize that the people they are being compassionate to has been deceiving them. And at the same time, people that are being shown compassion, if they realize that it's just out of a selfish heart, they can also become very aggressive and unhappy. So let's make sure our compassion is very sincere. All right, so let's see, what is the challenge? So how do we show compassion?
Challenge yourself to smile more. Open the door for someone.
One by one. So challenge yourself to smile more. How do we do that every day to show compassion?
Say like, I will smile 5 times this hour. I don't know. 10 minutes.
You know, when we were in the field today, did you notice I was always smiling? And we were getting embarrassed. Like, Mommy, Mommy.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep a smiley face. It's not difficult because you don't know who has a bad day that needs your smile. Yeah. Compassion requires a constant smiling face. Little J, the next one.
Open the door for someone.
That's an act of compassion. So don't always wait for you to be served. Serve others. Motivate others. I always motivate both of you every day. It's an act of compassion for me to motivate you. Practice an act of kindness. Next one, Big J.
Allocate time to bond with friends and family.
That is so important. Compassion comes with spending time with friends and family. Do I spend time with you? No.
Like now?
No.
Wow.
Say encouraging.
The evening.
Yeah, say encouraging words. Yeah, I do that sometimes, but sometimes I'm just so upset. I need to be honest. I need to say more encouraging words. But I'm very encouraging. Today I encourage you, right? I encourage you. So I'm very encouraging. Share a hug and a handshake. We've shared some hugs. Really? Incorporate the phrase "thank you" in your daily routine. Offer to help someone to do their to-do list.
And
Big J, my to-do list every day is wash plates. So be compassionate enough to wash plates every day. Nurture
relationships by taking time to listen to others.
That's what we need to do more. Listen to others and don't conclude on what we don't mean or what we've not said. Listen to others more. Okay, don't assume things. Trying to find out backstory. Now, when people heard about Russia and Ukraine, everybody was shouting, Russia. I'm not saying Russia is not at fault. But at the same time, if you sit back and you listen, you also realize Ukraine has its own faults. No side is perfect.
That does not mean that Russia
is right, and that does not mean Ukraine is right. So you need to balance. You need to balance your view. Okay, take time to
be
listen.
honest, though, Ukraine is only getting kind of the worst.
Yes, that the ones getting the worst. But what I'm saying is the underlying reasons. You need to balance. You just ask, what are the underlying reasons? So let's see. Let's see this diagram. This is the level of engagement. So when you have pity, you acknowledge somebody's suffering.
That's too bad.
So when you have sympathy, what's happening?
Don't worry, it's okay.
Okay. When you have empathy, what's happening to that person?
I know what you're going through.
And I feel your suffering. The first one, sympathy, saying, I care for your suffering. You guys are really having compassion fun. I shouldn't have put both of you together. Sympathy is, I care for your suffering. Empathy is, I feel your suffering. So you feel what they feel. And Big J, we need to move from sympathy to empathy.
What to see?
You. Yeah. You see, we need to move from sympathy to empathy. And then we need to now move from empathy to compassion. Compassion says, I will relieve you. Many of the time, many of us sit on sympathy. Or many of us sit on pity and say, oh, I just pity those people on the street that are homeless.
Oh, wow.
That's a very good example. Or we cannot have sympathy. I care for the homeless. We drop 1 pound. That's sympathy.
No.
That's sympathy. Then empathy is I feel you. You get a warm coat and give them a warm coat. Okay. But compassion is I'll take you up the street. I'll give you a warm place to eat. I'll give you dinner. You see, compassion goes through the whole process with them.
Like the Good Samaritan.
Like the Good Samaritan. All right, so let's see what more we can learn about compassion. So these are these are very comprehensive views, diagrams that again, I keep doing that. These are comprehensive view diagrams that we can go through to see these the keywords that are associated with compassion. I like humanity. I like nurture. So compassion nurtures. Yes. Compassion nurtures. Compassion is selfless. Compassion, empathy,
brain.
Yeah. Compassion connects.
Pathways.
Huh?
Pathways.
Philanthropy.
Care.
Taking care of people. Or maybe it's a typo. Compassion has a heart. Compassion is benevolence. We spoke about benevolence last week. Compassion has concern for others. Kindness. Compassion. See the blue light small one. Resolution. Compassion tries to bring resolution to a situation. You see? Compassion is philanthropy. We know that. Compassion is pathway. We create pathway. Compassion measures and intervene. Compassion is awareness, pro-social, cooperation. All those things are related to compassion. And then if you look at this circle, what are we trying to say? So there's a different level of compassion. There's a point where we have awareness. Like we are bringing this program to you, we are bringing the broadcast to you, we are giving you an awareness of compassion. Then after this broadcast, you have a comprehension of what compassion is. Then what's the next thing? You act on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's your responsibility. Yeah, that's my responsibility.
It's also ours.
For you. For those listening. So the first thing is there's a wisdom that comes with awareness that says, now I understand what compassion is about. And then there's a resilience that say, I understand the suffering. I now have the capacity to do it, to help people. And then there's a joy that comes within you and say, I'm going to go all the way to make other people happy, make myself happy by doing. Then you have courage. Sometimes when you are in the process of developing compassion, you can get discouraged, especially when you can't do anything about it. And then what happens when you're finally able to act? You have a sense of justice. A sense of justice. So today we are going to look at lives of some people that have shown compassion, and we're going to see how they follow through. Examples of compassion in real life experiences, which some of it I don't even know if I could do it, but we'll try. So the first person is Father Francis of Assisi. Assisi. So what happened? He was 23 years old. He was wealthy, and he lived in Rome. So when he goes down to the downtown, he started realizing that beggars were living very poor lives. You know what? He now persuaded one of the beggars to exchange his clothes and spend his days begging hams like the beggars. So what happens? Compassion, he sat in the seat of a beggar. He didn't give them clothes. He acted with them. So when you see an homeless and you empathize with an homeless, I say you can give them clothes. But if you really have compassion, it's either you change their situation or you sit in their situation. So he chose to sit in their situation, and he was the first person to really show empathy experience in human history.
Alms, though.
I think it's like money.
Money, asking for money, begging for alms. So like all those homeless on the street, when you see the bowl they put in front, they're asking for alms. So when you drop £1, 50p there, they give them money. And there are a lot of homeless in our city. So, but what he did was he dressed like them and he went to sit there. And soon he moved from being rich to beggar to starting a religious order where they helped the poor. So where they help the poor and the beggars, and they give all their worldly goods to the poor. Let's assume you have $20 billion or pounds. Can you give everything to the poor and live like the poor? You know, a lot of people have said they are philanthropists. They give out of their abundance, but they can't live like that poor person. But he showed us a difference by being compassionate, by living like the poor. And that is the level of compassion we are discussing today. So we can be philanthropists. To see the four diagrams again. So he was wise, compassionate. He got to that point. So none of us have gotten to the point of wise, compassionate. We discussed it before. So you see, he was able to sit with them. And I'm asking myself, can I actually do this? Even though I'm not as rich as he is in terms of how wealthy merchants. So we need to start thinking, how compassionate am I? Am I able to give everything to the poor? The second example we have is another rich lady. In the early 20th century, there was in Eastern London, there was kind of hub of rich, well-off people, people from rich family, politicians, and there was a social thinker called Beatrice Webb. And by 1887, she realized that poverty was enraged in some parts of Eastern London, and she decided on that account to start a society and to help the destitute. So she went down, she did the research, she left her comfortable life, and she began to dress like one of the people. So, do you want to start that again?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
my own investigations into the chronic poverty of our great cities opened my eyes to the workers' side of the story. Here it in her autobiography. Her empathy immersion inspired her to campaign for improved factory conditions and to support the cooperative and trade union movements. She later became a leading figure in the socialist Fabian Society and co-founded the London School of Economics.
So she was the co-founder of the London School of Economics, but she walked with the poor. She understood, and because of that, she was able to help the factory condition. She was able to support their cooperative union. She was able to organize trade union so that they would be able to change how they treat factory workers. But her compassion led her from moving from a high-class society to the local society. Don't you see how difficult it is for people that are rich to associate with people that are poor? Uh-huh. It takes a lot of compassion for you to say, I'm going to be a friend with someone irrespective of their social class. That person has a very huge level of compassion. No, this is even nice. We can see the next example and you'll be surprised what the person went through. Okay, now this is a very interesting one. So in 1959, this Texas-born American journalist decided he wanted to understand what segregation means in the Deep South. So what he did was he dyed himself into dark.
Is that blackface?
Yeah, he dyed his whole body. You know, there was a day. Remember the plot I had, the plot of the baby I had. Who will say it? Yeah. If Amy and Josh is listening, she will understand the plot. No. If Amy and Josh is understanding, I had a very curious plot to do something about dying. Anyway, so let's go back to this. So what happened is he dyed his whole body with dark pigment, and he started traveling from all the parts where Black Africans or Americans were dominant. Places like Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, South Carolina. And at the end of the day, nobody suspected him. What happened? He gained a wild understanding of racial inequality, of the causes of racial inequalities, and he actually worked with Martin Luther King along the way.
He wasn't trying to be racist.
No, he was trying to understand, is it real?
Because my brain just went up.
No, it wasn't deceptive. But what they are saying that nobody realized he was actually white throughout the process. In fact, there are pictures that he would be cleaning shoes for Black people. He really acted as if he was Black. Nobody knew. If you want to find out, you can see a lot of image of him on the internet, and you can see some of the things he did in the process of actually understanding racial inequality. You know, the experience we had with Little J today, details we drew. If he was there, he would try to understand by acting what happened to Little J, by running the race, you understand? So he would try to understand, put himself in that situation with other Black people. Or Little J sit up with other people that are segregated. So in his book, he wrote something. He said, if only we could put ourselves in the shoes of others to see how we would react, then we might become aware of the injustice and discrimination and tragic inhumanity of every kind of prejudice. This is the reason why I started InfoHubMe. You know, when I said the motto of InfoHubMe was seeing others through their lenses.
Oh, yeah,
It knew me. So the reason why we started the organization is for kids to be able to put themselves in the shoes of others. How will others feel? We went to a place today, and after a situation happened, there were 3 girls that sat close to me, and the 3 girls were angry. And the 3 girls were angry, like, that was not fair. That girl should have won, you know? And I was listening to the discussion. That was what they did. They were seeing the other person through the person's lens. That was such an unfair thing that happened today. They might totally compassion is expressed by putting our legs in the shoes of others so that we'll be able to understand injustice, discrimination. I'll repeat it again: injustice, discrimination, inhumanity, and prejudice. A lot of time we think we understand prejudice. A lot of time we think we understand racism. No, you don't. No, you don't. Reading a textbook doesn't make you understand racism. Reading about it and funding a group does not make you understand prejudice. You understand prejudice and racism by actually living in the shoes of that person. That is why when you visit people that are in mixed race relationship, one will understand more what the other is going through because they never did outside the circle of their relationship. So you understand. So you cannot understand compassion except you put your shoes, you put your legs in the shoes of another person that is going through it. Okay? So let's see. What more can we learn? I really enjoy the life of Griffin. I'm learning day by day to put my legs in the shoes of others. And right now, BJ, I'm going to put my head inside your mouth very soon. But anyway, I'm still for little J, I need you to understand. So this is a very important one, right? So in 1983, there was a German journalist who decided to understand what the Turkish immigrant workers were going through. Another example of compassion. Yeah? So this is another example of compassion. So what he did was he started wearing, he kind of changed his face, wore a hairpiece, dressed like them, had a broken German accent, and he started walking where the Turkish immigrants were walking. Look at how they describe the Turkish immigrants. On blocking toilets, he was helping them. He was helping them with urine and doing very dirty stuff without any protective mask. And at the end of the day, he had chronic bronchitis, because of trying to have compassion and empathizing. So for 2 years, he lived as an underground immigrant. So he will understand the life of an immigrant. So let me give an example. If I come to Scotland, I don't have access to government funds. I don't have access to a job. I don't have access to the kind of funding that the government gives to those that are in situation.
And then there are all those other citizens who are just plain racist.
Yeah. So you don't understand what somebody that comes into this country that don't have access. You might think, oh, what are they doing here? The German journalist didn't think like that. He decided to go a step by understanding them. I mean, he himself became struck towards the end because he understood the conditions, but the humiliation he got as a second citizen, although he was a native German, but he never understood how people were treated as second citizens. It was when he went into their shoes, he realized, oh my God, is this what these people are going through as an immigrant? For every Scottish person that is going to watch this video, I will challenge you.
Not just Scottish.
No, because I'm in Scotland. I will challenge you to try and walk in the shoes of every visitor that comes into Scotland, irrespective of their skin color. Because sometimes you don't actually understand what it is. It requires a huge compassion. And I pray that this society will become more compassionate to help and support others as they walk along the journey. So he also wrote a book. And in his book, he showed how the lowest of the lowest were sold more than, he showed how his experience, and he sold more than 2 million copies in 30 different languages. And what he did for 2 years led to criminal investigation of the people that were involved in illegal labors. It also resulted in improving the lives of others. So one of the things that we get from compassion is justice. So if you read all the stories we've been reading about compassionate people, they experienced justice at the end of the day. They brought in justice. The lady, can I just ask, BJ, can you move here a bit? 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 Move here. Thank you. Okay, I can always move here. So what happens was each of the stories we told today, there was a sense of justice that came along with the experience. Okay? So let's see whether we still have one more. I think I have one more. I like this brilliant one. Okay, so this is Patricia Moore. She's a product designer and she's also rich, definitely. But what she did was she decided to carry out an experience in the 1970s. She was 26 years old, but she decided to dress like an 85-year-old woman to understand what it is to live as an 85-year-old. But she's a product designer. So let's assume I want to design a product and I don't understand how a 6-year-old think. So I would come down to the age of a 6-year-old and I would try to live like a 6-year-old so that I'll be able to design something for them. So what she did was she decided to put on makeup. She wore clothes, she sprinted, she wore bandages so that she would not be recognized. She did that for 3 years. And she visited many North American cities. And she, at the end of the day, she opened departmental stores. Some of the things she designed, you'll be surprised. Let me see if I have a slide on the things she designed. Yes, good. So what she did was, by the time she did all that experience for 3 years, she started designing products for the elderly. So she designed the thick rubber potato peelers so that the elderly would be able to use them. So now the potato peelers we use in the kitchen was this Patricia that designed it, and she designed it so it would be able to suit.
But they're not rubber handled.
Some of them, I have a rubber handed one. B2J. I have two. I have a metal handed one. I have a rubber handed one. So the one she designed was a rubber handed potato peeler to help those that are elderly. And she also provided equipment that would be able to help people with what's that? Arthritis. So our products were prone to help those that were disabled. And because of what she did, she became Justice Coming Again, an active campaigner to help senior citizens with disability laws in the US, we change disability laws. So she also opened rehabilitation centers for war veterans, those that have lost their limb. See, just because she became a product designer, she didn't sit there. A compassionate move to different areas, justice, rehabilitation centers, helping people here and there, and her life was just all about, she said she's driven by empathy. Her life was driven by empathy. And what else? An understanding that one size does not fit all. So if you don't have compassion, you just treat everybody the same way. And that was why I said, learn to have compassion on people around you, because don't just write everybody off, number one, and don't put everybody under the same banner. People are going through different things in their life. No shoe fits all. No size fits all. Enter the shoes of another. So can you see that same word is coming back over and over again? Put yourself in the shoes of others. I really enjoyed topic compassion because for me, it helped me to be able to see where I am and what I need to do more to help those around me. And so that's me saying, your example, my example. What are the ways, or what ways have you shown compassion before? For me, I enjoy helping the homeless. And every time I have an opportunity, I go out and I support organizations that cook meals and help the homeless to be comfortable. Maybe because I've been in a situation in this country where I was almost homeless. So I understood the impact of that. And so it always grieves my heart when I see the homeless on the street. Sometimes I wish I could have more to pour, but my heart always goes out for them. Sometimes compassion also requires you to have, just like the examples we've had, they were wealthy, they were this, they were that, but some were wealth, some were talent, the product designer, some was empathy, putting their shoe, their just living that life, like the guy that disguised as a black man in America. And the Turkish guy. So they put themselves.
Not Turkish guy.
The German guy that turned into a Turkish. So you can see it's not all about money alone, but it requires several kind of perspective. Your emotions, you being there, just being there with others is more important for compassion, not just money. Okay, girls, what have we learned today?
Is that the end?
That is the end. Next week, I think we'll leave the summary because we thought we're going to do the summary of the whole virtue today, but unfortunately, we have used another 45 minutes. I think we talk a lot. We keep running out of. We talk a lot, and I
summarize every single line.
Pardon?
You summarize every single line.
I'm so tired. Oh my
Can
god!
we just like take off like lessons that we've learned from?
And so next
Can we
week.
go to the slide with the whole diagram?
No,
and then
next
just click
week we would say we'll do a summary slide of everything we've learned so that we'll have that as a talk. Wouldn't it be better so that we would have good summary perspective? Somebody that have not watched any of our programs can have little slides of what we talked about in each one of them. That would be nicer. Okay, so I'm just having a deliberation on what I should do next week with the J girls. But anyway, we've learned so much about love. Once again, love is the embodiment of life. Love is not selfish. Love is given. Love is not taken. Love is all about what you can give. And love does not expect back. So if you are compassionate or you are generous or you have mercy because you want to have mercy upon, that is not true love. Love gives without thinking of receiving back. Let's keep that in mind as we carry this thought into this week. Do I really love those around me? Do I do things because I want people to do it back to me? Am I kind because I want a circle of friends? Am I social because I want people to help me if I help them? Do I have my friends gang and all those that are not in my circle are not loved the same way I love those in my circle? There is a popular saying that says that your friends determines where you go, but those kind of saying makes you throw away those that need your help along the way because you have a circle of friends you move on with. So I'm teaching the J girls. I'm also teaching myself. Let us be compassionate. Let us be generous. Let us have mercy. Let us have altruism. And this is the message from RWJ. Put your legs in the shoes of others. There is no one size fits all. I'll repeat, there is no one size fits all.
There's not one size that fits all.
There's no one size that fits all. So thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for coming on today's broadcast with us. It has been on few months of a journey. And I hope that you come for the summary talk next week about all about virtue before we go on another topic. But I really enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your comments. Bye.